Another look at oil now. It is continuing to trade at the lowest point since March 2009. Now it is doing nothing but getting worse, down to $4.62. That's a full $2 drop from the low level yesterday. The low price of oil, of course, cutting into, among other profits, ISIS profits. Gillian Turner, now former National Security Council staff member, about what can be done about ISIS. Well, Gillian, as low as oil is right now, Gillian, forgive me, it is still the mainstay, as I understand it, of the way that ISIS is paying its bills. ISIS is essentially a country now. It controls a large swath of land. They have to pay employees. They have a lot of expenses that come with running a country. And the main way, correct me if I'm wrong, that they're doing it is by selling oil, right?
There's really two main sources of revenue for the organization. There's bank theft, which is money they reappropriate from banks inside the territory that they've captured, and as you mentioned, oil smuggling, which is the sale of oil captured from fields and refineries in the same territory. And this is happening all across Iraq and Syria, but perhaps most profitably inside the city of Mosul.
Okay, but bank money runs out. You know, there's only so much cash in a safe, and then you run out of money. Oil essentially doesn't run out, or at least it won't for 100 years or more. I'm wondering to whom they are selling, because there are two sides of a trade. There's a buyer and a seller. You can understand why ISIS wants to sell it, but who's buying it?
That's right. Really, the only way to curtail or stop this financing is to target, as you mentioned, the facilitators, the buyers here. We've got to cut off ISIS's access to international banks and to international ports. And more directly, to answer your question, they're exporting this stuff, crude oil and other kinds of oil products, from everywhere to Africa and the Middle East, as well as large parts of Europe. So it's really a rampant problem.
But, you know, I understand that there are these long caravans of trucks carrying the ISIS oil that we can see from satellite. If we can see them by satellite, why can't we hit them by drones?
That's an interesting question. I'm sure that's an option that the counterterrorism community is looking at in the administration. Using drones is an effective way to carry out a whole other host of our kind of security strategic objectives. So perhaps that's a viable option here. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see over time.
You know, I don't mean to be conspiratorial, and I have only heard drips and drabs of this, but I have heard that they're getting a lot of help from folks inside Turkey. And one of the people who'd been mentioned was the head of Turkey, Erdogan. His son is in the oil business. Some people have pointed fingers at him and suggest that one reason our side doesn't want to disturb that relationship is because we're trying to win Turkey in other areas. Is there any possibility of that kind of conspiracy going on?
Well, I think I would really leave it in the realm of conspiracy right now, in the sense that tracking oil from crude to refineries, then to points of sale and beyond is very tricky, and it's a long process. It's an arduous process. It's something that really requires the counterterrorism community to work hand in glove with like the Treasury Department here in the United States. So there's multiple government agencies. I think we're really, for the first time now, starting to get a really good grasp of this. I think it's a little early to point fingers and name names. Give it a few months and we'll be at that point.
It should come down, because it is the Achilles heel. If there's any Achilles heel of ISIS, we've been looking for it. It is money laundering, the banks and the people that are buying the oil. We've got to find out who's behind that. Gillian Turner, former National Security Council staff, thank you very much for coming in.